Hello. How are you? Donna, hi. Have I not seen you for a while, Donna, or am I just thinking that because I was gone last week? Carol, good morning. It is yoga time. Stevie, good morning. Sharon, good morning. Carolyn, good morning. Hello, ladies, and whoever else is here. Really happy to be back. So anything anyone would like to share with me, let me know what's going on. And if there's anyone here that's new that would like to introduce themselves, it's always so bizarre to me. I see people here, not here. It's just, who knows how this whole thing works. But anything going on in particular, I'd like to hear that and see how you're doing. See how your week off was. And was it a week off or did you do things? Because that is important, is that we take care of ourselves. All right, so I'll go over there. I think you're all doing fine, all right? Okay, so let me go over here. And then I won't be able to see anymore, but that's okay. All right. So welcome. I was listening to a podcast last night and hearing even more about the studies that are being done on aging. And, people use a lot of terminology like anti-aging or going against aging. There's a word that people use often called hacking. I don't like to think of it that way. I like to think about it as this is going to happen. We're going to age, right? We're not going to I don't think of it as battling it. I think of it rather as learning all that I can and doing the best that I can to be the best, healthiest version of myself as I can. And yoga is an amazing practice for that. There's so much self-care. They were talking about muscular degeneration. So sarcopenia is what muscular degeneration is called. And this is a yoga therapy for osteoporosis class, which is related to bones. And osteopenia is when we start to lose bone density. And then when it becomes in the diseased state, it's called osteoporosis. Well, sarcopenia is the muscular action, and there's a strong relationship between muscles and bones. The muscles are what move the bones. The muscles are what either pulls on or demands more from the bones to have our bones get stronger. So muscular strength and bone strength go hand in hand. We know that we start to lose those around the 30s or the 40s, and then they start to accelerate. And the terminology that was being shared yesterday is the word frailty, the frailty syndrome, which is what they're looking at, especially for females over age 65. That's the next big category. That age 65 is where they start to look a lot into this frailty syndrome. And they say that the acceleration of bone loss and muscle loss doubles after this age. So 1% decrease up until about age 65. That's probably when most women have gone through menopause and then have had their hormones go into the level that it would be after that point. And estrogen is very protective of bones and many other facets of our lives, but especially with bones. So the importance of strengthening your muscles is what really matters. And this being a yoga for osteoporosis focused class, we're going to focus on bones. I really want us to think about our muscles. And when that happens, I want you to, when you're in something that's a challenge, I want you to go to your muscles, whatever muscles we're working on, and know that at that moment, you're doing the best you could do for the aging process. And you are do your best. Don't go crazy. This is not about running out and trying to run a marathon the next day to get cardiovascular stronger, muscular stronger, bone stronger. It's pacing yourself and thinking about it in the moment to hang in there as long as you can. So that's really what I'd like to say. It's the hang in there as long as you can. We're going to do these postures. We bring ourselves into these postures for 30 seconds at a minimum, sometimes longer. And in that time is when you are creating those demands and that appropriate stress to strengthen the bones, to strengthen the muscles, and then many other things that are happening as well. So you're going to show up and do whatever you can. That's all you ever should do, but really as much as you can. Not just coming here and hanging out, but really trying to do your best effort. And you'll be happy. You'll be happy with yourself. You'll be happy with what happens in an accumulation over a 3-month or a year-long period. I know that that's the case for me. Actually, tomorrow will be 3 years since I taught a live yoga class. March 10th, 2020 was the last class, and it was yoga for osteoporosis. It was my Tuesday class at Torrance Memorial. I taught that class. There was some rumblings of this virus that was happening. And then that night, the hospital said, we're not going to teach anymore this week. And then they said we weren't going to teach anymore for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And my thought was, oh my gosh, what are they all going to do? What is everybody going to do with all of this strength they've been working towards, and flexibility and self-care? We can't stop. That's where I went. And I started teaching live the next week, which was almost 3 years ago for me. But what I've noticed in my own body, because I cannot walk around the room and help people in the way I used to, is I am doing more yoga. And I've done more yoga for 3 years. And so that accumulation of every class, every posture, every moment I stay in the moment, doing it, holding it, even the times it feels challenging, has set me up for this strong, limber, flexible body. And I'm so grateful for the strength that I have, the flexibility. And it's not always easy in the moment to stay in it. So do your best, stay in the moment. You're strengthening your bones, your muscles, your joints. It's going to help you ward off future pain and suffering that can happen with aging, with falling, with becoming frail, and becoming in the frailty syndrome, which is what that term is. So whatever you do today, show up. And every day that's going to add up to more strength, more flexibility, more range of motion, and you taking the best care of yourself. For today's practice, we'll need a block, a strap. Some of the postures I'm going to do today will be better off done near a wall or near the back of a sofa or a chair, because I want to focus on muscular strength in some of these postures today. And so when we get to that, I'll let you know that. But if you could set yourself up somewhere, turn your screen so that either you could be near a wall or you could be near the back of a sofa or something, that would be great. I'm going to begin today's practice with my legs up the wall. This is actually a door, but it acts as a wall. So I'm going to begin with my legs up here, elevating your legs on a chair, on an ottoman, on a sofa, on the wall is a really great way to relax the hips, relax the low back. So it's a nice thing to do, especially if you're in an acute low back situation. So I am going to begin with my legs up the wall. You could begin in whatever position you would like, and having the block and the strap handy for the next part of the practice. So cutting down the way that we get in, if you are going to do it near the wall, I'd like to help you figure that out. Tushy touching the wall is not the goal. Tushy as close to the wall as your body will let it get is the goal. If you have tight hamstrings, tight glutes, tight low back, your body may be a little farther away, but you don't want to be too far away. So don't get so attached to having to have the tushy touch the wall, but be close to it. So if you start off with a tushy cheek either near or touching the wall, that may be a great thing. As always, when we move with osteoporosis, we want to make sure we don't collapse the middle part of the front of the body. So you do not want to press the front of your spine from below the heart to right by the belly button into itself. That contributes to fractures. So you want to come down with that lengthened spine, bring yourself down, and then bring your legs up. And bring your legs on the wall or the chair. If you have a chair on them, you'll have bent knees. And then if you do need to go closer, go closer. So do whatever is appropriate. For some of you, if you're feeling a lot of tightness behind the hamstrings, elevating your pelvis is nice. So you could fold your blanket, or you could get a bolster or something. And honestly, you could even use your block. So you could take your block, you could lift your pelvis up, and then place your block underneath your pelvis and your sacrum. It feels delicious. I am going to use the word delicious because I feel that that's what it is. So whatever position you're coming into, make it be comfortable. The block or whatever could be underneath your pelvis, even if you're in a regular position, a shavasana position with your body straight. So find what's appropriate. And then supporting your chest. So if you are in what's called an inversion with an elevated pelvis, you want to make sure you don't collapse or cave in on your chest. So pay attention to that. Close your eyes, let your body awareness increase. Eyes are closed, mouth is closed. Breathing in and out through your nose. Breathing in and out through your nose, practicing that. Nose breathing has a lot of therapeutic value. Warms the breath, catches things in the air, and allows the immune system to respond quickly. And it releases molecules to relax the airways. And then let's bring our mind to our breath even more. So bring your awareness to your throat and add a slight restriction to your throat, as if you were trying to fog up a mirror. Keep your mouth closed, breathing in and out through your nose, restricting your throat so you hear this gentle whisper in your throat. And then let your mind go to your throat, so you actually hear or notice the whispering that's taking place in your throat. This breath is called Ujjayi, ocean breath. Listen to the sound of the breath in the throat. Mouth is closed, making that sound in your throat. Notice if it's as noticeable on the inhale as it is on the exhale. On your next exhale, let your mind say these words silently. I am whispering. When you exhale, let your mind be in your throat, feel, notice, and then repeat those words. I am whispering. Nice and slow. Slow down the words, slow down the breath. Now we're going to slow down the exhale even more. You're going to add on, I am whispering, and I notice it in my throat. I am whispering, and I notice it in my throat. I am whispering, and I notice it in my throat. Really slow down your exhalation. Let your mind be in your throat. Listen to that audible sound in your throat as you slightly restrict your throat to create that vibration and that sound. Stay with your breath, slowing down your exhalation. Finish the breath you're on. Take 3 more breaths like this. Stay with the breath. Keep your mind here. Be very present moment with your breath. And then finishing your last breath, wherever you are, finish the breath. Give the breath back to your body to breathe itself. Become a witness and notice. Pay attention. Be here, right now. Let your awareness go up and down your body to notice what it notices. Then bring your awareness to your head. Gently allow your head to go side to side, wherever you are. Letting your head go side to side with the eyes closed. Feeling the stretch in your body. And then bring your head back to center. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Bring your legs up in the air, wherever you are. Start to inhale to point, exhale to flex. Inhale, point through the toes. Exhale, flex through the heels, up towards the sky. Pointing and flexing. Look at your feet. Notice if they're pointing straight ahead or are they out to the side. Notice if you're able to keep your legs straight, or do you need to bend your knees? Do you need to bend your legs closer to your chest? Noticing how your back feels, how your core feels. The core has to work to hold the legs up. The hip flexor muscles, the psoas, which is attached to the lumbar spine, and the inner thigh legs are contracted. So we're getting some muscular work in the quadriceps here, in the core, and in the stabilizing muscles of the trunk. Inhale to point, exhale to flex, and then allow the toes to go away from each other slowly. Push them away from you towards each other and then towards the back wall. Go slow here. Try to keep your legs relatively stationary and isolate this as an ankle joint movement. And watch your feet. Watch the ligaments, the tendons, the muscles in the feet as you do this. Go slow.
Let it be isolated in the feet, the ankles. Now go in the other direction. Go slow. No races here. Slower you go, the more nooks and crannies you could notice. The longer you'll be in the ankle joint for lubrication and flexibility, increasing that joint range of motion and the dance in your ankles. So if you slip, trip, or stumble, your ankles will be able to manage that and not pull on your bone and fracture your ankle. Then we're going to come into a wide leg. So if you're on the floor, take your hands, hold on to your legs to feel the adductor stretch. If you're at a wall, put your feet up against the wall when you do this. If you have a block underneath, you could take that out or keep it in if you need it. You're going to get different feelings in your legs depending on where you elevate your pelvis. Some of you may need that though. So you're either taking your legs wide to the side, holding on, or you're up against a wall. And then you're going to move your feet through internal and external rotation. This is a hip joint movement. This is happening at your hip joint. Toes go towards each other. Toes go away from each other. Feel whatever you feel, noticing what you notice, stretching your hips, warming up your hips and some of the leg muscles. And then bend your knees. Bring the soles of the feet together. If you're on the ground, you could hold on here. If you're at a wall, you could put the pinky toe edge into the wall and push the knees away from you with your muscles. Don't do it with your hands. Hold on to your legs, pushing your knees away, stretching the hips, inner thighs, wherever you feel it. Everyone will be different. And then if you are near a wall, take your feet, put your feet in the wall here, stretching a little bit other areas. And if you're on the ground, do a happy baby, drawing your knees into your chest. And really the knees actually towards the armpits. So pushing your legs into the wall can have a nice deep stretch in the legs. You can move the knees out to the side or hold on behind your hamstrings and do a deep happy baby. Something where you feel muscle stretching where your legs attach to your body. And then draw your knees into your chest. Come onto your side. And from here, slowly pushing yourself up so you can work on strengthening your arms, your chest, your shoulders, coming up nice and slow, bringing yourself up. Let's take the blanket, bring the blanket onto the middle of the mat. We're going to stretch our body in a pretty big way here. Take your hands forward, take your knees pretty wide, let your head be lifted. When your head is lifted, you're strengthening your upper back and neck. And then bring your belly towards the ground and away. You may need to go slow here. Keep your head up, don't let it come down. Warming up your hip joint, what's happening to the front of your spine. You're not bending your spine, you're bending your hip. This will help you get body awareness for how to bend safely throughout your day. Starting to stretch the underarms, starting to stretch the front of the body, maybe going a little bigger if that's available to you in your body. Noticing what you have to give today and being okay with that. The next time you come back, we're going to stretch our spines. The front of your spine is long. Bending your hip joint deeply, low belly comes towards top thighs. Let the forehead rest on the ground. Spine is long. Point your tailbone away from you. If you're able to let your arms go overhead a little closer together, if they stay straight and the front of your spine stays long, try that. Moving in whatever range of motion you feel a stretch underneath your armpit, in your chest, in your shoulders, appropriately, and making sure that the bend in your hip joint is appropriate as well.
And then lift your head, bring yourself up, come all the way up. So because we spend so much time avoiding forward folding, when it's not forward folding, we need to avoid forward folding in our spine, but we need to forward fold in our hips. So bringing that piece of awareness into your life on a daily basis if you have osteoporosis is critical to bone health. So let's work on strengthening our muscles. We're going to be here for 30 seconds. If you need to come down before that, that's okay. Doing what you can. Every time you show up, you have the opportunity to add strength. Some days are different than others. We may not feel like we want to do this. We may not feel like we have the ability to do it for 30 seconds. So do what you can. Take one foot back, flip your toes under, bring the other foot up. Coming into a plank, if you need to modify, keep your knees and shins and the top of your feet on the ground. If you're in the full plank, spread your fingers and your pointer fingers are forward. Press your fingers into the ground a lot. And then push away from the ground with your hands. Bring your awareness to your feet. Make sure that all your toes are touching. Really push them into the floor a lot. You'll feel activation of muscles. And then push through the center of your heels. So your weight, you're distributing your weight evenly from the upper and the lower body. Push away from the ground a lot, activating those pushing muscles. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out and down. Take your hands, strengthening the wrist, strengthening the arms, strengthening a lot of body parts there. Let's take the wrists, bring the hands across your body. Bend your wrist, keep your arm straight, so no bend in the elbow. Try to keep your arm straight, pushing your hand towards your body. You can either stay up in the kneeling, the high kneel, or the low kneeling position, whatever's better for you. And then bend your wrist this way, stretch. And then the other side. Pushing the hand towards your body. And then, so keeping that wrist limber. And then take your hands, shake. So we're going to come into a pretty challenging posture, Vasisthasana side plank. This, I prefer to do this near a wall because it gives me a little bit of a reference. So I am near a wall. I'm going to move a little closer to this wall. You could also do this at the back of a sofa. You could do this at the back of a chair. A little harder in the middle of the room because balance becomes a part of this and it's a pretty strong posture. The Vasisthasana posture is a side plank posture. So this is what it looks like. A variation, you could bring a foot in the front. That takes a certain amount out of it. It still makes it a challenge, especially for the upper body. Or you could actually do this as a variation like a half moon. So we're still getting the lateral chain of the body. We're working the lateral chain on the upper leg and then that upper body here. So whatever variation you do, we're working on the side of our body. Really important for spinal health, for hip health, and to maintain that strength in the upper spine so that we don't have scoliosis, or for those that have scoliosis, especially if it's mild, this can be really corrective for that. These two postures, half moon and Vasisthasana side plank. So whatever you're going to do, you're going to choose whatever's the best for you. Bring your hands onto the ground, take one foot back and then the other. Keep your feet together, lift your pelvis and roll onto the pinky toe edge of whatever side it is you're going to. And then bring your arm up in the air. So the leg that's on the bottom, you're pushing that pinky toe edge into the floor a lot and really lifting your pelvis away from the ground. Push your fingers into the ground, deep breaths. Lift your heart, lengthen your spine. And then bring yourself out. We're going to come to the other side. That's a really intense posture for me. Definitely the hardest one, I would say, for myself. Let's get yourself in a prep, get prepped for this. Take your feet back there together. Lift your pelvis, roll onto the pinky toe edge. Bring your hand up in the air. Push away from the ground with the pinky toe edge of the bottom foot. Modify in whatever way you need. Long spine. And then bring yourself out. Whatever is a rest position for you, it could be kneeling or it could be a seated position with legs crossed. Close your eyes, breathe all the way down to your pelvis. Notice if when you breathe, you're breathing in and up. If there's a lift from your heart on up, and see if you could shift that. Start to breathe in and down to your belly, down to your pelvis. Feeling the heaviness of the breath as it comes in. Allow the diaphragm to expand, to move downwards. Notice the heart rate. Notice if it's slowing. Managing your internal energy when you do your practice. Bring your awareness to your eyes if they're closed and gently blink them open. It's a practice of self-care. Very intentional practice. And we are intentionally focusing on certain muscles to strengthen them so they support our bones and our joints and us. So let's come down onto the ground. We're going to do a little bit of the stretching. And when it comes to bones, we're either pulling on them or pushing them into themselves. Let's take a little break with these next couple of postures and pull on our bones. I am going to do this. I think I'm going to do it. No, I'll do it regular. Okay. All right. So let's do the postures on the ground where we actually stretch. We're going to need the block. We're going to need the strap. So have them nearby before you come down onto the ground. Have your blanket at the top of your mat. Come to sit on your tushy. Let's do a little core strengthening before we come down. And also let's add a balance aspect. We're going to do a posture called Navasana, boat posture. The important thing with this posture is you don't let your spine go into a flexed position. So you want to make sure that you keep that lifted heart, lengthened spine. There's a deep hip flexion here. We're activating the hip flexor muscles. One of them is actually a quadricep muscle. So let's come onto the tushy and move side to side so you feel your buttock bones, feeling your pelvis. Go side to side. Keep your heart lifted. Noticing here if you feel anything, any tension at the hip joint by having your legs in this position. Side to side, feeling the bones. And then bring yourself back to center. Hold on underneath your arms. You want to make sure that your arms stay like this. Don't let your arms collapse. When your elbows are elevated like this, you're actually activating the shoulder girdle, which helps to present your body and hold you upright. So we want to make sure that we don't collapse or cave in. And that's something we're always focused on with bone health, is what's happening to the front of your spine. So you're going to sit on top of your pelvis, Walk your feet back so you come to a place of balance, and then let the toes just come off the ground. You're actually balancing on the base of your spine here. Elbows are elevated. Don't let them collapse down. Don't let your heart collapse. Lifted heart, elbows are out to the side. Now lift your legs up. So this is the posture, we're entering it. This is us in the posture for 30 seconds at least. If you'd like to explore taking one hand off, see how that feels for your body, and then try the other side. If you want to try both, try both. Lift your heart, lengthen your spine. And then bring yourself down and out. Bring the soles of your feet together. Rock side to side. Keep your spine nice and long. Bring your awareness to the front of your spine. Make sure you're not pressing the spine into itself. Nice long front spine. We're going to come down onto the ground. Come to the side. Reach long with your hand and come all the way down. Arrange the blanket so it's underneath the head. Grab your strap. Bring your strap onto your belly. Push your feet into the floor. Lift your pelvis up and then let your pelvis go down. Move side to side. Feel the sacrum, the base of the spine there. And then draw one leg in and then the other. And let's warm up the hamstrings. Letting your legs go in the air. Noticing, look at your feet. Where do they go? Is it mostly the toes are going up towards the sky? What happens if you lead with your heels? Notice how that goes into the back of the leg. If your legs are above your pelvis, you're working your core, you're stabilizing muscles. If it's too much for your low back, bring your knees closer to your chest. Let your low back flatten towards the ground. So do what's appropriate for you. Bring yourself into a tabletop and then draw the knees into the chest. Let's come into the leg stretch, big toe stretch. Number 1, draw your foot in. Take the strap on the arch, right in the center of your arch. You want a straight leg here. We want to be pulling on the beginning of the hamstring muscle on your pelvis. So you want the straight leg here. Do what you need to do to get that. So you may need to keep the other leg bent, or you may need to have the leg a little farther away from you to keep it straight. Whatever you need to do. Pull the strap down, root the leg into the socket. Feel that nice rooted presentation of your leg. Now actively push the leg away and now guide the leg towards the wall behind you. You're pushing away and guiding it towards the wall behind you. Push away, guide towards the wall behind you. Active the whole time. Pushing away a lot and pulling back a lot. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and release. Let's take the strap off. Let's draw the other leg in. Draw the leg in. Take the strap on the arch. Bring the foot in the air. Do what you need to do to get that leg straight, either moving it away, keeping the opposite knee bent, whatever you need to do. Straight leg, arch, the strap's in the arch. Push the leg away, and then let's enter the posture. Pulling the leg towards the wall behind you, pushing away with your muscles, pulling towards the wall behind you. Strengthening your pelvis on this side of your body, right where the leg attaches to the pelvis. Pulling on that area, creating bone stimulation.
Leg towards the wall behind you, push the leg away. Push your leg away, draw it towards the wall behind you. And then release. Bring the other foot into the air. This is big toe pose 3. Legs are straight. Wrap your hands around the strap. You want your legs to be hip distance. You want your soles up towards the sky. Don't let the feet roll. Push into the strap so you feel the edges of your feet activate. And you feel that all the way down here in your hip joint, probably, hopefully. Soles of the feet are up towards the sky. Heels are up towards the sky. Legs are straight if you can. And then let's enter the posture. Draw the legs towards the wall behind you, 2 at once. A little bit more challenging, a little more tension. Pull down with the strap, push out with the pinky toe edges, and guide the leg back towards the wall behind you. Active the whole time. Push the legs away, pull them back, push out. Take one more breath. And then bend your legs. Take the strap off. Draw your knees into your chest, side to side. Bring your feet onto the ground, close your eyes, let your hands go on your belly. Let your knees fall in towards each other. Let your mind come to your breath. Catch your breath. Take one more breath. Let's move on to the trunk. This part of our body where the lower ribs are and the pelvis, this whole area here. A lot of core muscles here, a lot of stabilizing muscles. Important for posture, for alignment, for spinal health, for fall prevention. So take your hands, bring your hands into the very bottom part of your body. Your pubis bone is at the bottom. Come up to where it's a little softer right above that bone. And press your fingers in pretty strongly. And then lift one leg up and then lift the other. And notice if you feel the activation of the muscle there. Abdominis. Maybe you feel a little action. Now let's bring both legs up and down. And notice how you feel that deep turn on of the core. When you lift your legs up, you need to be careful with your pelvis. You want to make sure your pelvis stabilizes and doesn't rock. And then keep your feet down. So this next posture we're going to do, we're actually going to be challenging this part of our body. We're going to go into a twist, hover into a twist, and hold our legs there. So the posture looks like this. We're rotating our trunk, so we're going to let our legs go to the side to a place where we can hold it with the whole rib cage still on the ground, heart lights pointing up towards the sky, and we're maintaining this posture here, using the trunk and the core to support that. So you want to make sure when you come into this, you come in appropriately. One of the things here is the tilt of the pelvis. If you let your pelvis pop, your low back pop away from the ground, and you're struggling to manage this, you're going to go into your low back. So to protect the low back, we want to contract the core, press the belly button towards the spine. I like to say, think about the top of the pelvis pushing towards the ground. So bring your block between your legs here, squeezing the block, and do a little posterior pelvic tilt. Feel that you're squeezing your core, pressing the top of your pelvis into the ground. See if you could feel that. And then draw your knees into your chest. So we're going to come into this posture. You got to be careful when you go into it. You want to stay safe. Squeeze the block, flex your feet, let your arms go to the side. Exhale. Inhale to come into this posture. Stay here, hover. Use the arm on the side you're going to press into the ground to support your body. Let your rib cage stay on the ground. Squeeze the block. If you could unbend your legs, that's going to be a little bit more tension. Maybe that's appropriate for you. See what you're noticing. Push your pelvis back, the top edge of your pelvis back to protect the low back. Squeeze the block. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Take a break for a second here. Notice how you feel. A lot of core work. Bring your legs up, squeeze the block, flex the feet, and then allow your body to move to the other side as far as you can to hover safely. Squeezing the block, straightening the legs if that's what you'd like, pressing the top of the pelvis back. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Take the block out. Bring the knees into the chest. Then come into a happy baby. Bending your knees. Kneecaps towards armpits. Rock side to side. And then knees into the chest, side to side. And then bring your feet onto the ground. Take your arms out to the side. Take your feet as wide as your mat, so the heels are on the mat, the knees are up towards the sky. And start to go side to side. Go slow first, keep your feet on the floor. You're going to start to stretch some of the core muscles, some of those rotational muscles, the trunk muscles. So at first, keep the soles of the feet on the ground. And then start to go a little bigger. Let your knees go. Soles of the feet roll away from the ground. Push your legs away from you, side to side. And then bring yourself back to center. Paying attention to how you're feeling. A little stronger practice today, maybe, for some of you. So noticing if you're giving what you should, if you're doing the appropriate amount. We're going to come into bridge, strengthening the spine in this back bend position, stretching the front of your spine. Really want you to think of the whole front of your spine lengthening, opening the front of your spine and then pushing the back of the vertebra into itself. So let's really focus on that today in this posture. Take the block in between your legs. Walk your feet closer to your body. Moving the blanket away from the head, arrange the upper body so the shoulder blades slide towards each other. The back neck is nice and long. Arms are bent. Let's try the arms bent today. This is actually a great way to push the upper arm into the ground when you're up. So you could lift your upper torso away from the ground and really press the back of it into itself. Trying to back bend in your thoracic spine as much as you can. Not always easy because this is where the ribs are attached. So trying to get as much back bend in this part of your spine as possible in the bridge today. Take your head nice and long, arrange the upper body, bend your arms and keep them as close to your body as you can. So not out to the sides, bring them to the side. That's going to give you more support. Try to push your elbows towards your body. Walk your feet closer, lengthen the back of your neck. Tilt your pelvis back so your low back presses into the ground. Feel the top edge of the pelvis pressing into the ground. Squeeze the block, exhale. Then squeeze the block, inhale. Peel yourself up and away. Push your arms into the ground a lot to lift the upper torso away from the ground and try to push the back of it into itself. Deep breaths. Push away from the ground with your feet. Push away with your arms, your upper arm bones. Press the heart up towards the sky and then press the back of the spine into itself. Try to bend your thoracic spine as much as you can. Take one more breath. And slowly, one vertebra at a time, bring yourself down. Blanket back underneath your head. Block off to the side. Come into a fully stretched position, stretching your body here. Take some breaths, allow your breath to relax. Take one more breath. Bend your knees. Bring yourself onto the side. Take your hand on the ground. Pushing slowly. Go really slow here. Push away from the ground slowly to come up. Let's clear the space. We're going to come to a standing position. So take your strap. Move your strap out of the way. Turn your block onto its highest level. And bring your blanket onto the mat. Start in a kneeling position. Allow your body to calibrate to this level here after being on the ground for a little while. If you're near a wall, you could use the wall to help you, or a chair or a sofa. Or you could challenge your muscles. Bring your foot forward, flip the back toe under. Push that front foot into the floor a lot, activate the glute. And then push away from the back foot and slowly, slowly bring yourself up and out. Come all the way up. You're going to bend down to get your blanket. Keep your front spine nice and long. Take your blanket off.
So we're gonna come to the standing part of the practice. Get a chair if you need a chair, if you have balance issues, or a wall. So working on strength, we're gonna string two postures together. Let's see how we feel. We'll stay in each one for 30 seconds. So you may need a chair or a block. You may not, having whatever is right for you. We're gonna come into a wide stance, push the front heel into the floor, keep that front leg straight and swivel on the heel to come into an externally rotated hip. The back heel lifts up and lifts away. So your legs are pretty wide stance here, they're straight. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and down. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Slide the hands down a lot. Exhale. As you inhale, push the back foot into the ground. Let your pelvis go towards the back and your arms with resistance come up. From here, look forward, reach long. Either put your hand on the back of the chair, on the seat of the chair, or on a block. Coming into triangle, bending at the hip joint, not at the waist. Don't bend your spine, bend your hip. Push away from the block or the chair. You're not resting on it. Push away from the back foot and then push the front foot into the floor too. Feet into the floor, get long, lengthen your spine. And now try to rotate your heart up towards the sky. If your neck is not happy, turn your head down towards the ground or look straight ahead. This is strengthening the neck muscles. Push your pelvis away, bend the front hip. Take one more breath. Push your feet into the floor, bring yourself up. From here, we're going to come into the warrior two. So you may need to move your chair away if it's right next to your leg, if you have one. Bring your arms up, exhale, push away from the back leg and bend the front leg as deeply as you can. If you need to walk the foot forward a little more. Come into as deep of a hip and knee flexion as you can in that front leg. And then look back at your hand, move your body back so you're coming right out of your pelvis. Look over the front fingers. Push both feet into the floor and lift the arches away from the floor. Active feet, long neck, push your arms back, really reach your arms long, working on postural muscles in the upper body, hip in the lower, leg muscles, leg bones. Push your feet into the floor. Lift your heart, lengthen your spine. Push your knee to the side, that front knee, push it to that direction of that side that you're on, the front leg. Push the back leg into the ground, front leg into the ground. Take one more breath. Then bring yourself up, bring yourself out. Come into mountain, posture of alignment. Notice your feet. A lot of work on the feet to do this. And then shake. Let's go to the other side. Chair if you need it. We're moving through the triangle and the warrior two. Definitely a lot of upper body strength to come into one and then the other. And these standing postures do a lot of weight bearing in the hips, but they also do a lot of strengthening in the postural muscles. Coming from the wide stance, the wider the better. Front heels pressing in, toes move away, back heel moves away. Shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Reach down strongly. Exhale. As you inhale, push your hips away. Look over that front. You're stretching that front leg. Feel that. You're bending at the hip joint. When you can't go any farther, you're going to let your hand go on the top of the chair, the seat, or the block. Push away from whatever you're touching. So you're pushing and lengthening your spine. And then rotate your heart up towards the sky. Try to create as much stretch in your body as you can. Active arches. Push your feet in. Try to push the legs apart from each other, pushing into the ground. Take one more breath. You're going to bring yourself up. From here, push your feet into the floor, start to bend the front leg, and then push away from the back foot. Bring yourself down, low down into the warrior two from here. Look back, reach your body back, and keep your arms nice and long. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Push the hands back. Push your feet into the ground. Draw that energy from the ground by pushing down, bending deep if you can. Lengthen your spine. Try to turn your heart forward. Long neck, lengthen spine, arms back, reach long with your fingers. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself all the way up. Come into mountain. Toes are touching or close to touching. Bring your awareness down to your feet. Feel the weight evenly distributed between both feet. So feel both heels, press the heels in. Press the pinky toe edges. Press the toes. Grab the floor with your feet. Push your fingers down, push your hands back. Top thighs, push them back, tailbone down. Long spine, long neck. Chin parallel towards the ground. Take one more breath. From here, we're going to move into tree, challenging the hips, strengthening the legs, strengthening the hips, strengthening the pelvis. Let's push the body weight onto one side, bend the toes, keep the toes on the ground as you swivel the knee into external rotation. Don't let your hips move. That's as far as your body will go. And then bring your foot up in between your ankle and your knee. Push down with your standing leg, knee out to the side, down with your fingers, gaze is forward. Challenge yourself if you'd like. You could move your body, move your arms, try to close one eye, then the other. Only if that's appropriate for you. Push away from the ground, get tall, try to get still for the last few breaths. Not too still. Trees move. And then bring your foot forward. Bring yourself down slowly, all the way down, back into the mountain. Hands are down. Feet are equal. Press your feet into the ground. Move your body weight over to the other side. Bending the knee. Knee out to the side. And bring the foot up in between the ankle and the knee. Find balance on this side. If you do want to add a little challenge, you can move your arms or close one eye and then the other. And then coming to a place of stillness for the last few breaths. Push your foot down. Try to find some stillness. And then slowly bringing yourself out. Come all the way out back to your mountain. Hands are down, long spine. And shake your arms. So we held the tree today for a minute. So although that might not always feel like a hard posture, when you add more time, you challenge the joints, the muscles, the bones, that's adding layers of strength. So whatever's appropriate for you, that's how you challenge yourself. There's always degrees to add that will add challenge. So choosing what's appropriate for you. We'll come into the chair posture, which is really great for strengthening the lower body. We'll use the block today to bring our arms into the straight arm position, squeezing into the block, which is going to give us that shoulder girdle support, and trying to bring our arms up. This is called lightning bolt because it takes on the shape of a lightning bolt from fingertips down your body, having that bend in the middle of the body. You want to make sure that your body weight goes back when you come into chair and not forward in your knees. And if you try that right now, if you go forward into your knees, you may even feel some sharpness of some of the tendons over the kneecaps. You want to make sure that we bring our body weight back. So you could start with big toes touching and legs zippered up, or you could be more in a hip distance stance. It's up to you, what feels appropriate to you. Take your block, hold your block, bring your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Exhale, and then inhale. Push your tushy back, squeeze your block, lift your arms up, look where your block is. The deeper you go, the more intense this posture is. Choose what's appropriate for your body. Keep your arms straight. See if you could lift your toes up, or all the toes except for the big toe. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself up, bring yourself out. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and down. Take your arms, shake your arms. So today's practice, we definitely used gravity for weight bearing. In some of the standing work, we did a lot more posture in the upper trunk as well. So you may feel that you're a little bit more fatigued in the upper body than usual. So see how you feel afterwards. Let's prepare for the final posture, Shavasana. Whatever variation you would like. I'm going to do the legs up the wall because that's how I began. So do whatever you'd like. Bring yourself down, allowing the integration of everything practiced today to seep into your cells, your bones, your muscles. Find the posture for you to find relaxation. Anything you need to do last minute, knees to chest, wiggle the legs, whatever you need to do.
pare, Hariyam Kariyam, Ninameya Kame, Govinde, Mukande, Udare, Pare, Hariyam Kariyam, Ninameya Kame, Govinde, Mukande, Udare, Pare, Hariyam Kariyam, Nename Kame, Govinde Mukande, Udare Apare, 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 Hariyam Kariyam, Nename Kame.
Gently begin to deepen your breath. Let your head go side to side, releasing tension from the upper back and neck. And wiggle your fingers and your toes. And draw your knees into your chest. Come onto your side. From here, pushing yourself up from the floor into a seated or kneeling position. The eyes are closed. Closing the practice. Hands are together at the heart. We're going to close with a gentle hum. Let it be a real soft hum today, and let your awareness be in your throat. Listen to that beautiful vibrational sound that you create when you exhale. Mouth is closed. Exhale. Inhale. We bow in gratitude. Gratitude to each other for being here with each other, wherever we are. Gratitude for the practice, for the wisdom, for this opportunity. Thank you. We practiced 13 postures today. Some of them are pretty strong. The intention was definitely to strengthen muscles, bones, joints, our body. And pay attention to how you feel. That'll help you decide how long, how deep, and what level the practice should be for you at this moment in your life, wherever you are. All right. So How was that for you all? I hope that was appropriate. All right, if you want to let me know how you're doing, you could. Oh, my son is here. Hi, my love. You didn't practice with us, did you, Jackie? That would be so great if you did. All right. You're welcome. Yeah, Donna, and I know you love that. So you're on a mission to be as strong as possible as you age, as we age. I say that, but that's because they say since we're born, we are aging. Yeah. All right, Carolyn, thank you. All right, ladies, I'm off because I've got another meeting that I need to attend. Good. Oh, good, Sharon. And you are strong, so that's great. Good. Yeah, you're all strong. You're all the strong ladies. So you're strong because you do it. I mean, you've been with me for a long, long time, and look what's happened. Look what's happened. Oh, Jeannie, great, you're here too. All the strong ladies. Yeah, that's what happens. All right. Well, thank you. Have a great day, and I'll see you in my next class. Bye.